All right, we're going. Yes.
Yes, we're live.
All right. Mike Tugubin, Duayak, Monica Veni, Moni Bomino, How Midakyapi, Noah Akitao. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Good Medicine Way. I'm really glad that you all are able to join us tonight. Um, Now, normally I would be my usual perky, happy self, right? But it turns out that yesterday, yesterday, 15 years ago, my grandma passed away. Granted, it was a long time ago, but when it's the first passing that you ever experience, it sticks with you pretty much for your entire life. And so for these past few weeks it feels, I feel like I've been reminiscing on like the influence and the legacy that my grandma um like gave to me, and like I was just thinking about last week when we were talking about the importance of matriarchs, right? And we were talking about the impact that those who have passed on before us have made on our lives. And so I was thinking tonight, not to like, I felt like I needed to share that. I felt like that was kind of the way that I really feel. And I don't mean to put it out there in a weird way, but I guess that's part of the reason why I feel really behind right now. Um, I feel like last week I kind of had the opportunity to share a really, really beautiful dance that the Ute people do, right? And I figure that since Good Medicine Way is like takes place in like the hunting lands of the Ute people, and my grandma being one of the last like full-blooded Utes, it's like we lost a lot there. I'm sorry, but I feel like last week I just really kind of like let her down in her memory that was coming up. So like I said, yesterday was really hard. And I feel like since we have Siera Russell here with us, and she's going to be talking about like success, indigenous success. Sorry, I'm having such a hard time talking right now, but uh, yeah, that's what she'll be coming to us with tonight. Is she'll be talking about success, right? Leaving legacies and that kind of thing. But I'm really glad that you all are able to join us tonight, wherever you are tuning in or whenever you watch this. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, I had a whole script thing going, but I feel like tonight is something where we kind of have to, you know, kind of dig tonight, I suppose. But so yeah, thank you for joining us. I am uh, my name is Kelsey Lou Beth Monroe Jocko. My my Indian name is Umpedadaka. Sorry. Um, my Indian name is Umpedadaka, which means white star in the Pawnee language. Um, in my Ute way, my Indian name was Saga Pooch, and that's white star in Ute. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like right now I'm kind of hurting. And so instead of our usual like the Four Directions prayer. I kind of want to just, say a prayer, I was reading something earlier about like what's happening with our elders, and it's really sad and it's really scary because when you do move back to your homeland, that's when you're getting ready to go home, and for like my grandma, she moved back to the reservation too. Yeah, we used to live in the city. We used to live in the Springs, if anybody knows what that is. But that's where we were. We were like around like Denver area. And like where our reservation, where I basically grew up. It's the Ute people. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what to really say right now. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and pray.
Is Laura on now? Okay, you can go ahead and stop.
And Petadaka,
Yeah.
I want to reach out to you now. And I want to help you. And to let you know that we are here for you and that you shared your heart with us. And when it gets difficult, there's many, many people around you that are going to support you. And I want to offer to help you and take on the role, if that's fine, as the MC tonight, so that you have time to just rest, be with us, sense that we are with you, and that, things happen impromptu, but yet it's also in God's timing. And I just feel the sense that even though we're here in Albuquerque and you're there in Oklahoma, we're with you. And all of those that are here sitting in this room as well as around the country, that we are with you. And we want to help lift up your burden. So if you don't mind, if we can change roles and that I can continue on as the MC for you. And be with us, but if you need to patch out, that's fine too. And if I can open up the prayer on your behalf. Okay, thank you. Let's all quiet our minds, quiet our heart, quiet the busyness around us. Heavenly Father, we come to you now. You know that there are those in the midst of us that are hurting. We know that the loss of a loved one, whether it's more recent or whether it's years past, it still has that effect on us. I ask that you watch over those that are in mourning. I ask that you watch in Petadaka now. Give her a sense of your comfort. Give her a sense of that you are present with her. And let her know in your own special way that you hear her prayers. You hear her cries. You hear the mourns way way down deep. You hear it. Let her know that she is amongst many people who love her, who support her, and will be with her. I thank you for this evening that we can come together from all directions, from the east, the south, the west, the north, and all of those other directions in between. And in that directions, we come to the center. And we place you, Heavenly Father, at the center of what we're going to do this evening. That we're going to honor you. We're going to praise you. We're going to ask that you speak through our speaker tonight. Give her the guidance and the wisdom to share what you have on her heart. Thank you for Leah and Brian who come with music. Thank you for the gifts and the talents that they share with us. Thank you for all the other individuals that have volunteered tonight who are going to, either for the first time or maybe they've done this other times, that they've offered to help. And that our Good Medicine Way ministry is not just a few people, but it's many people. I'm very thankful for the gifts that have been given to us. I'm very, very thankful for those that are present, whether here in person in Albuquerque or those across the United States and in some occasions internationally. We give you this time. We honor you. We thank you. We ask for your blessings. And we ask these things in your name. Amen.
Oh, all right.
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and have some beautiful music from Leah and Brian. Thank you.
All right. So one of the songs we're going to do is our Lift You Up Brown Dance. So that'll be the second song that we do. But the first song we're going to do is a new one for us, but it comes from an old song. So often when we're planning for the meetings, we will ask our person who's going to be doing the kind of the featured sharing if they have anything, a certain song that they would like us to do or kind of what their theme is. And Taketchera, Siera, was not totally familiar with how we do our music. So she had a hymn that she said about how great thou art. And I was like, oh, we don't really do traditional hymns. But then that got me thinking. That's always a little dangerous. But I was thinking, I'm sure back in the day, people had this same problem. There were certainly a lot of really bad things that happened with the church being tied to government assimilation practices. But I think there were some people out there who were really wanting to do good things too. So I imagine okay, what if there was somebody who really had the right heart and was really wanting to share Creator's love with Native people, and how great thou art was a really important song for them, and they wanted to share that with the people that they were working with. So the way that most missionaries did it was that they forced the natives to learn English, to learn the status quo culture ways, and to learn to sing the song the way that they did it. But I thought, well, what if there was someone who really understood Creator's heart and really wanted to do it the right way, and see that the native perspective and the native worldview and the native way of doing music, that was all given to them by Creator. And even though it was different than theirs, it wasn't less valuable. And so what if someone respected that and tried to communicate how great thou art in a more native context? So that's what we came up with this morning. And so we'll see how it goes. So I'll share the words. They're mostly the same. But yeah, so you guys can all try to sing along with us. And But yeah, so that's that. And then right after we're done with that one, we'll go right into the Lift You Up brown dance. Got to switch all the switches here. I think so.
Sweetgrass and sage.
Hey, 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 way, hey, 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 way, hey, 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 way, hey, hey, oh, great spirit, I look out in awesome wonder and think of all the Creator made. Did somebody say, is the sound not working?
It's not good.
Okay, let me check and see what.
But it's gonna be great.
Is it like blearing out, distorting?
We'll bring, where is that one? Bring this one
All right. I think that what was happening?
I'm not sure. I heard somebody talking, and usually that means the sound's not working. So I just stopped for a second to try to fix things.
I think maybe someone was trying to sing along and had an open mic.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Then yeah, mute your mics if you want to sing along because the delays over the internet get a little squirrely. All right. Let me try this again. We'll try this again.
So while you're on mute, you can sing as loud as you want.
And dance.
Amazing how great thou art. And you just composed it this morning?
Yeah.
Oh, my word. That's way beyond me. That's excellent. Congratulations on your new song. We're going to call upon it again and again.
All right.
That was really good.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, so now we're going to go into creation insights. And if this is your first time here, we have different features of our gathering, which you're going to experience tonight. And Creation Insight is an opportunity where an individual can share how, our Heavenly Father has spoken to them or revealed a lesson or has revealed some type of teaching to them through creation. And so for tonight, I'd like to invite Eshe to share his creation insight.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that music. I enjoy it every time I get on here. It's really uplifting, kind of sets the mood for the week. I always enjoy myself. So yeah, I've been really busy lately. I just kind of wanted to share an experience that I had, but also to give some background to help everybody understand, so that it can be easier to understand. So I've been working on an archaeology project up about 50 minutes away from where I live. And been at it for about 2 weeks now. I got 2 more weeks to go before I'm done. It's Monday through Friday. And the project involves this old Yamasee village called Pocatalago. That was, I guess it'd be like northeast of me. You can look up Pocatalago and a lot of things will come up. You'll be able to read about the whole history. University of South Carolina has a really good article kind of talking about the history of Pocatalago. There was something called the Yamasee War of 1715, I believe it is, the early 1700s. And in that war, the English had just colonized this area. The whole East Coast had been colonized in the early 17th century, early 1600s. But the English really had a kind of a spearhead right here in Charlestown, as it was known, and later what would become Beaufort. And then the Spanish had La Florida, and so that was like the buffer zone between the Spanish and the English was the Yamasee. And so anyways, the town where the town is now is modern day McKay Point, which is like kind of a peninsula. It's almost like its own isolated ecosystem. It's almost like an island of its own, even though it's a peninsula. And there is so much diversity there. So for example, where I live on what is now St. Helena in English, comes from the Spanish Santa Elena. We don't have any black squirrels where I live, which is only 15 minutes away. And we used to have a lot of copperhead snakes back in the day. Very few now. Like I used to see maybe 4 to 5 every single year when I was growing up. Now I don't see any. And I think part of that was because a lot of people who lived here hunted them. And so they no longer are present. Or if they are, they're so few in number or they're hiding all the time that you just don't see them. And another tree that is very common on that peninsula are black walnuts, which my parents had sorry, my kids are getting tired and jumping on each other here. But yeah, those black walnut trees, I don't know how many of you are familiar with black walnuts, but in this area, my parents had a landscaping guy, a tree arborist, come out. Huh? Okay. So they had a tree arborist come out and basically say, like, they saw the black walnut. They have a black walnut in the land that they have, and that they're taking care of. And that black walnut, that guy was like, "There's only 2 that I've seen in the whole area, in my 25 years of working here." But this little peninsula, McKay Point, you go out there and there's black walnut trees everywhere. And black walnut trees, the thing about black walnuts is they can't just spread. You know, they can't just like propagate themselves. They can't like reproduce because the seeds are so heavy that they just drop down. And so they actually require humans to plant them and to further their offspring, so to speak. And so this island has so much diversity. It's only 15 minutes away from where I live, like I said, and there's black squirrels, there's black walnuts, there is turkeys out there that I see almost once, twice a week, which is very uncommon for the area. Huge flocks of deer, which we have a lot of deer, but point is like there's this huge amount of biodiversity on this land space. And in these excavations, we're starting to find remains of this old town. And it's almost like the lesson that I get from it is, you know, with everything going on in the world, you know, with everything tends to focus on the negative, you know, with the news and everything that happens with the earth, with just how humans interact with one another and with the earth as well. And it's sometimes that being there on that land, it reminds me that, you know, that this whole experiment with evil, with selfishness, it's not going to last forever. You know, it's not sustainable. And it reminds me that there are pockets of goodness. There's pockets of life, of almost like an Eden space, a new creation space. There's pockets of that in the present creation. And so it reminds me that all hope is not lost, and that to keep going forward, to keep moving forward, and to remember that life is more powerful than death. And so, yeah, it's just, and then we also saw like tons of snakes out there. I mean, copperheads, like the first day, there was like 3 snakes that popped out. And like right after, I told everybody, like, be careful where you step, because there might be snakes out here, because it's like all open land, trees everywhere, but there's like prairie and wetlands and everything there. And I'm like, watch where you step. And then like an hour later, there's a snake. And I think there was a black racer, there was a copperhead, and there was, believe it or not, a rattlesnake, an eastern diamondback rattlesnake. So yeah, it's just amazing to see how much life is in that land. And part of me wants to think that, well, I know, you know, I think about how much biodiversity is there, and how much of that was able to be here in the present because of the actions of human beings in the past, you know, for several thousand years at least in this area. But also how colonization and the effects of colonization have so impacted the earth that some of those species no longer are present in just a few hundred years' time, because of the actions of people who don't think the same way about life and about creation, and so about our relatives. And so it reminds me that also that part of this life process that is being outdone by the good news, as it is in Creator Sets Free, is also that our responsibility to the rest of our relatives, to the rest of creation. And so I just wanted to share that with you all. I was thinking about what to talk about tonight, and that's the first thing that kind of stuck out to me, was just how much life was present there, and to remember that with all the darkness in the world, remember that there is life. So, what I want to share.
Well, great.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And now we're going to have the sharing of a bear dance with Empedadaka, but I wanted to ask her if she would like to do it this evening or reserve for another time.
Yeah, I think she's offline. Yeah,
She offline?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So we'll see if she comes back on later and she wants to do it. We can slot it in somewhere later if she comes back.
Okay. So sounds like she's offline, and so if there's a message through Leah's the chat line, then she can let me know if she'd like to do that this evening or reserve for another time.
No, can I say something on what the brother just said before?
Yes,
Like,
come
wanna
this way.
Come by the mic, and then they can hear
So
you too. yeah.
Aisha, we have a gentleman here who has joined us in person, and I'm going to move my stuff from my chair. And he has joined us here in Albuquerque, and he'd like to share a response to what you had to say. And Art, if you could sit right
Yeah, no,
here.
he's fine.
Is he
It'll
fine?
pick it up.
Oh, okay.
well, and what you were saying about pockets of goodness, that's just like, you know, here in Albuquerque, I'm out here on the streets, and Albuquerque is very how do you say that? It's aggressive out here, and you try to find the good while you're out here to keep going. And tonight, you know, I seen my friend Margaret, and she told me, she said, "Come here," and she said, "Do you want something to eat?" You know, so I went over there and you know, I sat down with her and we start eating, and then I told her, I said, "Well, let's go to the church, you know, and let's go over there and see what's going on." And she said, "Okay," because it's so easy to get caught up in the bad so quick, and just to have these moments of good times, you know, like you said, pockets of goodness. I can relate to that, man, because out here, people don't realize Albuquerque is very dangerous. This is a dangerous place out here, especially when you're out on the streets. Anything goes, and you made me think about that. You know, thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I hope.
All right. So,
Thank you, Art.
Yeah.
And we're grateful that you're here with us. Same for Margaret, that they have joined us here in Albuquerque. And we appreciate what you said and
Yeah.
how what he says resonates with you.
Yeah.
So thank you. And here's Margaret waving.
Hello, everyone. I'm Margaret. I was attacked while volunteering in the cemetery to clean up the cemetery. And blunt force trauma, brain surgery, lobotomy, part of my partial brain is out. And yet, I'm still here.
Thank God.
Soul above, soul below, soul is in between. What is that? Living God, Christ.
Amen. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Keep love alive. Have faith, believe.
All right. Amen.
I had to relearn everything. How to drink water, how to use a spoon, how to walk again. And yeah, I'm still here. I have a purpose. I believe in that. I have a reason to still be here. I'm not gone, not just yet.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, stop.
Margaret, I just had brain surgery, and your testimony really meant a lot to me. I'm glad you got up even in the middle, because it made me cry. There were times I felt like I didn't think I was going to make it, but hearing your testimony and others' testimonies, it helps you to keep moving forward.
I was woken up April 5th, not too long ago.
I'm
Yeah.
just now starting to walk. When they said I couldn't walk, the doctor said I wouldn't, but I'm starting to. And I know it's partly because of the faith of the people at this group, but your testimony really touched me. I had to tell you.
Believe, absolutely believe. Believe. You can do it. I can do it. You can do it. So is you. So is everyone.
So see, this gives you a reason why you should come to Albuquerque and join us in person too.
Okay, I'm just kidding. No, this is various one of part of in a place very dangerous, and I do have a testimony, and I had no idea where I would see him again, and disappeared. And so did I. And a gentleman, very kind person from California, helped me to get myself motivated. Again, I just have a great heart and believe. Believe.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
Yes.
So in line with that, we'll move on to Creator's Prayer. So Leah McCoo will be doing it in sign language, but what I wanted to do first was just have us read through it together. Because I know for me, like sometimes I get so focused on the sign language, but then I don't know what word is coming next, and so then I'm totally lost. So we'll read through it together. I'll screen share it. I think it's the same version that Leah does, but we'll see.
The rainbow chalkboard one, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I'll just lead, and you guys can all just follow along at home there. All right, here we go. O great Spirit, our Father from above, we honor your name as sacred and holy. Bring your good road to us, where the beauty of your ways in the spirit world above is reflected in the earth below. Provide for us day by day the elk, the buffalo, and the salmon, the corn, the squash, and the wild rice, all the things we need for each day. Release us from the things we have done wrong. In the same way, we release others for things done wrong to us. Guide us away from the things that tempt us to stray away from your good road, and set us free from the evil one and his worthless ways. Aho, may it be so. All right, so let me get this chalkboard off the screen, and then we'll turn it over to Leah.
Right. Whew. Are you ready?
All right.
Ready. O great Spirit, our Father from above, we honor your name as sacred and holy. Bring
your good road to us, where the beauty of your ways in the spirit world above is reflected in the earth below. Provide for us day by day the elk, the buffalo, and the salmon, the corn, the squash, and the wild rice. All the things we need for each day. Release us from the things we have done wrong in the same way we release others for the things done wrong to us. Guide us away from the things that tempt us to stray from your good road, and set us free from the evil one and his worthless ways. Aho, may it be so.
So,
Great. Some are becoming more proficient. That's great. So now we'd like to turn our attention to smoke signals, and smoke signals is an opportunity to share any announcement that may be happening in your community or in our community here in Albuquerque. So I'd like to open that up with Leah.
All right. Well, yes, and so if you have any announcements you'd like us to make, you can just type them in the YouTube, Facebook, or Zoom chat, and we'll make sure those get spoken here. The regular one that I always invite all the ladies to is our book discussion. Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Diane's holding up the Braiding Sweetgrass book by Robin Wall Kimmerer. She's a Potawatomi lady who knows about her Potawatomi traditions, and also she got her PhD in environmental science, so she presents those two, woven together in a really magnificent way. So all the ladies can come to that Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. You just go to the Good Medicine Way Facebook group at the top left where it says browse. You click on it and then the event will be there. And then, Jean, do you want to talk about the men's book discussion?
Yes, men's book discussion group, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. We are reading through Randy Woodley's book, Mission and the Cultural Other, and there's still plenty of time to join. So if you're interested in that, please contact me. I think they put the contact information in the chat, and we'd love to have you join us. It's been a good, rich discussion. So, yeah.
Let's see, I don't see anything else typed in. Did anyone else have any other announcements, anything going on?
No, we're hosting the listening.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Listen
talk about that?
Project. Well, I can.
Yes,
Okay.
you know more.
Sure. So, Native University, who we've done a lot of things together with, in the summer times, they do this thing that they call the Listen Project, which is learning and serving in Navajo land, I think is what it is. So they're getting started with that this week. And so they're all kind of rendezvousing in Albuquerque first. So we're going to be hosting them here at our space here for the first couple nights and doing a few things with them. And then they're going to be heading out. I think they're going up to Jemez for some stuff. And then they're heading out by the Window Rock area, I think. Somewhere out on the res. But yeah, so we're excited for them, and you can keep them in prayer that they would just have a really enriched and fulfilling time, and that Creator would really speak to them in a special way while they're doing this special project.
All righty. Well, looks like Elisa has an announcement there. Go ahead, Elisa.
Thank you, guys. I'm sorry. I know I mentioned this before, but it's important. I've had the opportunity this week to contact the biggest continuing education provider in the United States. And why that's important to us is that people have to, it's a must now that they take human trafficking. But when I looked across this board, they had nothing on Native American missing people. And I thought how much I've been doing research on this. So I reached out to them, and the long story short is this. They like the topic. It looks like they're going to work with us. I was bringing this up with Pastor Casey. And if we do this, they will also give us a cut or a percentage of all the sales. And I think right now, with all that we're trying to do and grow, we do need money. I don't want to say we don't need money, but money does help. So the Lord knows that. And if we had this avenue and we can share our stories, our family stories about people that have gone missing, this would be a really good thing, and it would get the word out to the white man as well as on the reservation. On the reservation, you know it. But, in my area, my people don't know that. They don't know, and they need to. Because 3,000 people missing, there's something wrong with that. And I believe that the Lord put us here to make a difference. So thank you, and I'll try to be quiet for the rest of the night. I'll just mute myself. I'll sing to myself.
All right.
You're still welcome to chime in when you can.
Thank you, Laura.
All right. Well,
Okay, so I'm sharing, Katie put in the chat that there's a couple folks from her community trying to raise $2,000 to go on a leadership development next month in Minneapolis. So the links for more information about that are in the chats in Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. So you can look at that there.
good deal. Well, that's all the announcements I'm finding so far.
All right.
So we could move along to the giveaway time, which is the time when you're able and welcome if you'd like to contribute financially to the work of Good Medicine Way. One way you can do that is by going to our Good Medicine Way Facebook group, and at the top there's a logo you can click on to donate through PayPal or with your whatever card you want to use. And then in a minute when we do the song, Brian's going to put up on a screen a QR code that you can take a picture of, and if you want to just donate directly through there, we'll put the blanket out here in person. I think I had it over. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And but also if there are any other ways that are stirring up in your heart that you'd want to donate other things like with time or different resources you might have, you can just be praying about that and then let us know if there's, a way you'd like to be part that way.
All right.
All right.
So we sharing the screen now? Doing
Yep.
everything?
We're
Okay.
going to do the song.
So yeah, we're doing a little cultural mashup for the song here. So hopefully that'll all go well. Do you want to play this? Share this. Go ahead and start.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, interesting.
That is nice.
All I could say is, whoa. Can you share a little bit about the entry of that song?
Oh, sure, I guess. So the stringed instrument that Leah was playing and the unusual singing that I was doing comes from your Siberian cousins in the Republic of Tuva, which is right where Russia borders Mongolia and Kazakhstan. So it's down there in the middle of the Sayani Mountains, the headwaters of the Yenisei River, which is kind of like the Mississippi of Asia, are right there. And yeah, so that's the kind of singing that they do. That particular style that I was doing there is kind of associated with mountains and foundations. And so, yeah, like God's grace is foundational in our lives. So I've always thought it was very appropriate to use that particular singing style with that. And then in case all the weirdness was making it hard for you to pick out the melody, then I went ahead and played the melody on the Native American flute, which I'm sure you all recognized. So yeah, so that was that.
Oh, nice. And then I'm wondering if Leah, because I know you can't see what I see, but she has this beautiful instrument here, and if you could share that,
Just
and
hold
there's
it up.
some beautiful carvings.
Let's see, where's the closest?
No, just hold it up in front of you. You know, see. So yeah, so that's called an agil. It's from Tuva. Traditionally, the strings would be made out of horsehair, but these ones are actually made out of fishing line. And some friends of mine in Tuva made the body of it, and then I added the horse head on the top of it, and did some of the other finish work on it. There's a whole folk tale that goes with the instrument that deals with a man and his beloved horse, and actually has a lot of themes of resurrection and restoration in it as well. But I won't tell you the whole folk tale right now. But
This summer at the
Yeah.
Story Circle.
so yeah, so that's an agil from the Republic of Tuva in Siberia, southern Siberia.
Very nice. That was amazing. Okay, so now we'll spend some time listening to the reading of Creator's Word by Katie.
Hi. My name's Katie. I'm coming to you from Lenni Lenape territory and I call it North Philly. So there's two scriptures tonight. The first one is 1 Peter 2:9. In First Nations version, it says, "But you who trust in Creator sets free are a chosen people. You are a family of chiefs who serve as holy men and women. You are a sacred nation, a people who belong to the Great Spirit alone. You are the ones who will show forth the beautiful ways of the one who called you out of darkness and who brought you into his wondrous light." And the second scripture is Proverbs 31:25 from The Voice. It says, "Clothed in strength and dignity, with nothing to fear, she smiles when she thinks about the future."
Thank you. And now we'll go into a stillness time with Brian, and thereafter, Leah will introduce our speaker for this evening.
Okay, yeah, so this is just a time for us all to kind of center ourselves, settle our hearts if there's any turmoil in our spirits, just to really let Creator put that to rest so that we can be open and ready to hear what Taketchera has to say for us. And sorry, I'm sure I really just said that wrong, but anyway, here's a time just to relax and get centered.
Shall I go ahead? All right. Well, Siera Taketchera Russell is a citizen of the Yavapai Apache Nation in central Arizona. Siera is the author of the Indigenous Success Series books on Amazon, Rising Above Opioid Addiction, An Indigenous Woman's Story of Childhood Trauma, Faith, and Healing, The Indigenous Woman's Guide to Success, Biblical Principles, and Indigenous Wisdom to Help You Discover Creator's Pathway to the Abundant Life, and 7 Daily Habits of the Successful Indigenous Woman, Simple Steps on the Road to Your Destiny. She's the CEO and founder of Indigenous Mentors, a Native American consulting, coaching, training, and mentoring platform. Siera's career spans over 30 years of working with Indigenous communities. She provides cultural and consulting services for individual leaders, tribal governments, corporations, and educational institutions. Prior to serving as a tribal council member, she was an assistant law professor and taught property, criminal procedure, topics in Indian law, and international human rights law. Siera currently serves as an associate justice in a tribal appellate court and oversees her family's retail business. She's a member of the Indian Bible College Board of Trustees and the Living Water Foursquare Church Council in Arizona. Siera earned a Juris Doctorate from UC Berkeley Law, a Master of Arts in Education from Harvard, and a Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education, magna cum laude, from Arizona State University. And now, here is Siera Taketchera Russell herself.
Thank you, Hanikam, Leah. Thank you very much, and thank you, Brian. The music was just incredible, and so bless you both, Brian and Leah, for that. The music here, so refreshing for me. Yes, I listen to more traditional and contemporary Native music, but I also want to thank and say in my Yavapai language, Mahanjaga Gamuje Namolit Siera Taketchera Russell. And that's in my Yavapai language saying, hello, how are all of you? And again, my name is Siera. Thank you so much. I really want to shout out to Dr. Casey Church for inviting me to, he said, speak about my 3 books, but I'm only going to talk about 2 of them. And I was very humbled and appreciative of his invitation. And so I want to say thank you to all of you for this opportunity just to share with you a little bit. The reason why I was very humbled too by the invitation by Casey is because the fact that any of these books exist is a miracle. And like many of you, it's a miracle that I'm alive, but for the grace of God, I'm here. To prepare for tonight, because I tend to have a very passionate way of expressing, it is better that I have some bumper, like rails along me. So I wrote down what I believe the Lord wanted me to share with you tonight, because if I just went off my head, I tell you, it would just be I'll be so passionate, I couldn't probably sit here very long. So it's better if I write things down, and I'm going to do my best to read it and look at you, but that's why I did it this way. So as I said, it's a miracle my books even exist, and it's a miracle I'm here. There were times in my life when addictions, attempted suicides, and abuse could have taken me before my message could be written down and my voice could be heard. But God rescued me, and I am still, a work in progress. The foundation of my work is the belief that Indigenous success is about helping others become the people that God created them to be. So that's what Indigenous success is to me. This time has come for Native women worldwide to rise up and claim their rightful place of influence. Donna Parteau, a best-selling Christian author who's sold over 1.5 million books, inspired me to write my first book. When I met Donna, she discovered that I was a Harvard fancy pants educated Indigenous leader who had struggled with addiction and suicidal thoughts. both before and after my graduation from these prestigious colleges. She was intrigued by my journey and wanted to know how someone like me, with my background in education, had spiraled into such darkness, and more importantly, how I managed to find my way out. Donna pushed me. She really pushed me to write my first book, Rising Above Opioid Addiction. This book is essentially my testimony, my memoir. Donna believed that my story could be a game changer for millions of people battling addiction. She believed that it could bring hope and healing, and that was my hope too. But I couldn't have completed this work without a village. Above all, Jesus, Creator Sets Free, has been my constant companion. My village, I needed a team of mentors, cheerleaders, advanced readers, coaches, and ministers to keep me going. Some of these amazing people are here right now with joining us, or they're going to catch the replay. And I express my heartfelt gratitude to them and acknowledgement sections of my books. Historically, Native Americans have faced disproportionately high rates of suicide compared to other racial and ethnic groups in the United States. In 2010, when I was a new tribal court judge, I presided over one of the most tragic and challenging cases of my judicial career. I would like to share the story of this case as I wrote it in the book. On a cool Wednesday evening in the mountains shadowing the valley's river, a hurting young Native man committed suicide. Within 48 hours, repercussions of this tragedy came before me as the presiding judge. At approximately 4:30 p.m. on Friday, the deceased's father filed for an emergency injunction asking the court to stop the burial that his son's estranged wife had set for sunrise the next day. In chambers, I reviewed the father's petition and prepared for the hearing. When the clerk of the court announced, "All rise," the Honorable Judge Russell presiding, I walked to my seat. "Thank you, please be seated," I said. I faced the father and his family members and silently prayed to Creator God for wisdom. The father, a man in his 50s, stood at the petitioner's table. A young man and woman stood in the row behind him. In their late teens or early 20s, the two strongly resembled the father. I asked the father to state his name for the record. As he spoke, I studied his appearance. Although tall and strong in stature, his face was woefully fatigued. "Your Honor," he began, "I am a member of this tribe. I am the father of the deceased." He said that the young man and woman with him in the courtroom were also his children, the deceased's brother and sister. Their heartache and heritage was obvious. I felt the young people's eyes focus on me as I listened to their father's testimony. "Your Honor," continued the father, "the estranged wife is preparing a Hopi burial for my son because she claims that my son adopted the Hopi way, her way. Judge, you can't let her do that." This was a heart-wrenching case. I included it in my book to illustrate how much I needed God's wisdom throughout my life and how great God's unfailing love is in our darkest moments. Indigenous women experience higher levels of violence than other women. And in fact, with a shocking 84% falling victim in their lifetime. I believe my book shines a light on the often overlooked fact that American Indian and Alaska Native children face staggering levels of victimization. I wrote Rising Above Opioid Addiction to help raise up voices that would be heard in the darkness. I don't sugarcoat the harsh reality of my childhood abuse, opioid addiction, and all that flows from that. If he can take me out of that, he will do that for anyone. In 2020, my book achieved bestseller in a few categories, but the greatest achievement is receiving testimonies on Amazon, like the one from White Mountain Apache pastor Henry Mena of the First Youth Nations movement. He wrote, "This message is a must. We have been working with Native and non-Native teens and young adults for many years. This is a real life story that is relevant for the young and old. This is a real world reservation story. It touches on the hidden secrets of what's really going on and sends a message of hope and a way out. Faith is all around us, but for those who are at their worst, they can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel. This is the power of this testimony. And that is why I believe this is a book that needs to get in the hands of the world. If Creator did it for her, he can do it for you." My second book is about Indigenous Success Secrets. They represent biblical principles that helped me grow into a healthy and spiritually strong elder. You won't always get me saying elder. I'm trying to wear that, status in life, but it works here, so I'm going to say it. I'm an elder. When I went to law school, I couldn't wait to study federal Indian law. An adjunct professor taught this class. She was a well-respected Indian law attorney and tribal judge. She was the first Native professor woman in my life. I was excited and a bit intimidated. For her class writing assignment, I wrote on tribal court jurisdiction. Before I started, I asked her for help to outline my paper. She didn't have time and said that I'd do fine. When I turned in my finished paper, she returned it in big red letters with a C and a 3-word note, "Not very good." I felt shame. Yes, I was devastated too. This experience only exacerbated my low opinion of my writing ability. But fast forward to 33 years later, and I'm writing a second book titled The Indigenous Woman's Guide to Success. Writing this book took about 6 painful, challenging months with input from my writing village and dozens of drafts to produce a manuscript that my writing coach called good. My coach pushed me to do better and gave me feedback rather than simply telling me not good. My point is, don't allow the opinions of men or women, whether Indigenous or not, keep you from reaching your potential. Seek out cheerleaders and mentors and coaches whose shoulders you can stand on and learn from their achievements as well as their mistakes. I'm richly blessed to have amazing Native and non-Native people in my life to help me write about things like Indigenous wisdom and biblical truths. People such as Professor Rebecca Sosi, Yaqui, and Kelly Montijo Fink, Apache award-winning songwriter, singer, and Laura Olander, Kiowa, Soaring Eagles ministry leader. These people significantly contributed to my book through personal stories and conversations. Their stories, along with the stories from other Indigenous women leaders, are included. Without their contributions, my book would not exist. And thank you for allowing me to acknowledge Reverend Bill and Jan Galley of Restoration Ministries and Pastor Terry and Darlene Wildman of Rain Song Ministries. They were also crucial to the completion of my book. And I'm going to shout out to, I know who you all know, Terry Wildman for the First Nations version, which I reference throughout, and for writing a generous and humbling forward. I wrote the Indigenous Woman's Guide to Success for Indigenous Women in their third phase or season of life. Women in this phase of life, ages about 50 to 75, are mature adults. They've seen their relatives, they've seen friends pass on. They can see the finish line more clearly. And a phenomenon happens in this phase of life. These women become more reflective. Here's what I say in my book. You're reflecting on the things that gave you amazing strengths. You look back and bring the good stuff forward to change what's not working today. You've survived the federal government's termination and assimilation policies, and you're experienced in walking between two worlds. You've also gone through different stages in life. You raised a family, your children are grown, and you might have grandchildren, or you might be a grandmother raising your grandkids. In any situation, isolation occurs when kids grow up and move out. Elder Indigenous women wonder, what's my purpose now? Maybe my time has passed. I had a vision, but it was so long ago. Well, let me cheer you on. God has a message that only you can share with the world. In this book, I share how to know your worth, because you have an assignment with eternal value. Walk in love so you can respond wisely to every situation and live without regrets. Write your vision so you can prioritize easily and say no when you need to. Cultivate gratitude so your motives stay pure and God always sends you more to be grateful for. Protect your destiny and refuse to accept any man-imposed limitations on your future. Indigenous values in these biblical principles are: know your worth. What's your identity, your tribe, and place in your community? Your responsibility to Creator and Creator's people. Walk in love. You're relational and honoring Creator and others. Write your vision. See with spiritual eyes what Creator is doing around you. Use your five senses to connect with God more intimately. Cultivate gratitude. Show appreciation and value your interdependence with others and dependence on Creator. Protect your destiny. The future of your community of believers and non-believers need your contribution to thrive. It is time. Native women around the globe, Indigenous women worldwide, arise and claim their rightful place of influence. Now, I'm going to read you Laura Olander's story of success. The night before Many Nations One Voice Conference in Mesa, Arizona, spiritual leader Richard Twist, Lakota, held a roundtable discussion. Richard shared a few stories and then said each person could ask him a personal question. Richard was Native and white like me. I asked, I've heard many Native people say that you must have a percentage of Indian blood to prove your Indigenous lineage. What percentage of blood do I have to be called an Indian? Richard thought for a second. Then he looked me straight in the eyes. 1 drop. Shocked, I replied, 1 drop? Yes, 1 drop of blood and you are Native. not just to me. This is what God looks at, because it took only one drop of his blood that was shed on the cross to cover all sins. Every Indigenous person had one drop of blood covering his or her life. So, in my opinion, goes Richard, that's the only amount of blood you must have. More than that, I can tell that you have plenty of love in your heart for Native people. That this is what really makes you Native. See, Richard's message freed Laura from the isolation, shame, and toxic thoughts that she wasn't good enough, not enough Indian or worthy to come alongside Indigenous people. Once Laura believed that God chose her to be Indigenous, not solely based on blood quantum, but on her love for Native people, she rose up into her calling. Laura blooms as a gifted choreographer of Native and Messianic worship dancing for Indigenous communities. Like Laura, act on your identity and creator and offer your God-given talent to help other Indigenous sisters succeed. So this is the message I offer my readers in Indigenous Woman's Guide to Success. And here's another powerful testimony on Amazon from Chaplain Linda Hudgens. This is a great book. As I read the first couple of chapters, I remembered my husband's mother, Joyce, who was Cherokee from Oklahoma. She was so ashamed of being a Native American. It broke my heart because I was raised in Montana on the reservation. I've always had deep respect and love for the Native Americans. My late husband and our children are Native American. A Cherokee friend said that in the past, if you were Native American, your children could be taken away from you. This is why so many Indigenous women never admitted to being Native American. They would take children from their parents, even if their father or mother was white, and put them in a school away from their family. This is why Joyce would never willingly admit that she was Native American. It brought her deep shame and fear. I felt sad that she could not see how beautiful she was. If Joyce could have read your book, she would have seen how valued and beautiful she was as an American and as a Native American. Instead, she was blanketed in shame. Siera, you take your life experiences and show women how to break free and climb that new path to the mountain of success where they are proud of who they are. It touched my heart so deeply because it's a tool to walk out of slavery into freedom for all women, not just Native Americans, but for all women. How's my time going, Brian? So I'm almost going to close here, but I want to, since they gave me the thumbs up, I want to share with you another powerful testimony that someone put on my reviews. And I think this person did a wonderful job of pulling out for her the things she read that resonated, that God just spoke to her. And I can't say it any better than she does. Reading through this book made me emotional, as though our Heavenly Father was touching me in a special way. These are some of the words from the book which stood out to me. Excuse me. One way to honor your ancestors' sacrifice is to heal from historical trauma. You must stop allowing traumas, injustice, or regrets to become your identity. Another quote, walking in harmony means you aren't blaming others, holding grudges, or living in regret. Quote, the healing journey requires good relationships and taking responsibility for your actions. Quote, self-discipline gives you the power to accomplish your God-given purpose with excellence. Quote, and stop doubting yourself because God doesn't do great things for you because you're great. God does great things because he's great. She writes, I loved all the examples and the take action page at the end of every chapter. I put my hand on my heart, just like you said to do, and prayed. Dear Lord, is there anything in my heart that you want to unlock in me? I strongly recommend this book. To all of you, I want to say that I'm deeply grateful to Creator for how my book, The Indigenous Guide to Success, is helping others become who God has created them to be. My passion is teaching, consulting, and coaching Indigenous women to rise in their God-given destinies to impact the next generation. Lastly, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to bless you with the words from Patricia Main, a Cherokee sister from Flying Dust First Nation in Canada. We have gone through a lot as Indigenous peoples, but this is our season of rewriting our storyline because there is success within our bloodline. We are resilient, strong, and called for such a time as this. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you,
Siera.
Siera. That was
You're welcome.
such a great thing to hear from you. I'll introduce myself later, but for now, we are gonna take a moment of silence and be able to relax and let's take that moment of that vision that she said of the one drop of blood. Let's take that one drop of blood and just envision it coming from our head down as Brian is playing, relaxing and calming us. And Brian will lead us into Q&A or Q&R, we like to call. So, Brian, take it away.
All right. Sorry about all the technical issues going into that. But yeah, so now we're going to open it up for questions, comments, and give Siera a chance to respond to those. So yeah, so if we start getting people lined up, just use the hand raise function and I'll try to keep track of everything. But for right now, it looks like the floor is open. So if anybody would like to start out, go ahead.
I will.
Yeah, go for it. Art.
That beautiful music as always. Thank you for burning that sage. Thank you for the prayers and good conversations. I liked her speech. You know, for women, Indigenous women, you know, they go through a lot. They go through a lot, and you know, I still got my mom, and I still got my. I got one of my sisters. My other sister passed away, and you know, I've seen what they had to go through, and it's good that, you know, there's someone out here, you know, thinking about, you know, the Indigenous women out here, because they go through a lot. I enjoyed her speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Monica.
A lot of what you were sharing, Siera, really reminded me of what Eshe shared in his Creation Insights. You know, because he was talking about how, like, out on this peninsula that had been kind of isolated, that, you know, there was just all this beauty and diversity and all these things that weren't on the mainland anymore, and you know that they were lost to that, and how Eshe had said that for the black walnuts, because they're so heavy and they just drop straight down, that they need another relative to come and carry that seed somewhere, whether that's a two-legged or a four-legged, you know, in the air, on the ground, you know, but the trees need the relationships with their relatives to you know, to be what they can be, to have that success. And it reminded me, like, how you were talking about that, how you had times in your life where people were very critical and very judgmental, and how that had kind of boxed you in. But then when people were encouraging to you, and that helped you to be able to reach deep inside and find that seed again and bring it forth, and then they helped carry it out for you. So I don't know, it's a bit of a fuzzy analogy right now in my mind, but yeah, I just really felt like that there was like a strong connection between what you had shared and what Eshe had shared.
Thank you. May I respond to that, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just, the beauty in the way you said that just brought tears to my eyes, because you know, you just gave me another way of seeing that I hadn't really thought of it that way. That yes, because I was constrained or restrained and really needed the support of people who cared about me to help me, you know, blossom. And that's what, you know, creators called us to do, to be to one another, right? To encourage, support, comfort each other, just like the sister at the beginning of this. I don't know her name, but the young lady who had so much grief, and she felt safe enough in this space to share that, and that was beautiful. So I know we that were here for that will keep her in our thoughts and prayers, but she's such a beautiful spirit, and I'm just grateful that she was so supported here. She doesn't know me and maybe some of the ones that are new, but she did know those that have been continued to be here. So thank you, Brian, for sharing that.
All right. Donna on Facebook says, thank you so much for sharing, Sister Siera. Aho, it is so. The coin needed is within the fish's mouth. Time for us to come out of our caves and stand in the light for Creator to shine through us, and at the same time open our mouths to speak the testimonies gleaned through our life's journeys, both good and bad, for the sake of the encouragement and healing of others through the power of our testimony.
Good word. Thank you for whoever commented on that, but I think that's absolutely right on.
Go ahead, Diane.
I put this in the chat, but I feel like the Holy Spirit was saying you need to say this out loud. First of all, of course, thank you, Siera, for being here. Your message was beautiful. I'm one of those, most of the regulars here know that I have spoken before, that I grew up believing that I am Sioux, whether they be Lakota, Dakota, Nakota, I don't know. But just believing it in the back of my head, because I was brought up white. I grew up white. But in listening to you, I think this is the reason that God wanted me to say this out loud, is that I don't think you necessarily, from listening to you, I don't think that you would necessarily have to be Indigenous to gain, to learn and grow from reading your books. I would like to encourage everyone here. I'm surely I'm not the only woman here that was raised white or non-native. But it's beautiful. And I think I will have to read your books, because I think they would give me encouragement too. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Much appreciated. Your words are very, very warming my heart. Thank you.
All right. So, sure you don't got something, Joe? I see. I can see the steam lifting off from your hat.
I do, but I'm man, I wish we were all in the same room. Dagote Siera. I thank you for your story today, your words, your work. It's a blessing to my heart, my thoughts. I accept that from you, and I'm happy to hear your voice. This is not a new thing that I've said, and you said it verbatim, and I've never heard anyone say this either. So it's time. It's very much time. Our women are sacred. Our men are sacred. Our women are our life givers. And if the thing I don't know if you said this because I got lost in thought, but I believe if we're to grow as Native people, as Christ following Native people, our women are the ones that will bring us into that. And it's time. So I try to offer support. And anyway, I don't know. This is where I get in trouble because now I'm off script. So
All right. And then Vicky Biggs commented on YouTube that she is non-Indigenous and that she's read all of Siera's books and have received so much love, wisdom, and encouragement. So there you go, Diane, for natives and non-natives alike. There's a lot of wisdom. I think we can all benefit from native wisdom, and especially matriarchal native wisdom. I think it's a little bit where Joe is going, that the women's voices in our society are often turned down, if not completely silenced. And that's just kind of a product of our European status quo, patriarchal capitalist society that doesn't value a lot of things that should be valued. And I think we see the effects of that in our culture today. So yes, we welcome voices like Siera's, and we want to amplify them and get them out.
Thank you, Brian. May I say something to Brother Joe?
Absolutely.
Yes, I really want to just acknowledge the Creator's heart that you exude and that you work to walk in love, like one of the chapters I write about. And when you said you have to be careful, you don't want to get off the rails, I know you related to probably what I said about why I needed my notes. But anyway, I just want to bless you as you go forward and continue to be an ally to Indigenous women wherever you go. Thank you.
All right. So
silent?
Go ahead, Preston.
I was gonna say, is that silent for the Q&R?
Yeah, I think so.
If it is, as your new MC, let me introduce myself. My name is Preston Jones. Yate, chin, a touching the flame, or touching the bashinchi, kissing chini dashache, ashin dashin chanela. I am on my hometown / my ancestral lands. So the hometown is Peru, New Mexico, and the ancestral lands of the Dene people. So it's great to be with you guys. I haven't seen you guys for a few weeks, so love you, missed you. Heather's also here. Just wanted to, she says hi. So now we'll take it off to the Grovers and giving us a closing song.
All right, so we'll do our Ganaronkwa song. This is by Jonathan Miracle. Ganaronkwa is Mohawk for I Love You. But the song also talks a lot about good medicine. And that's kind of where we got our name from as a group. Yeah, so feel free to sing in your space. If you're with people you can round dance with, that would be the most awesome thing to do while we're singing the song. But yeah, here's our closing song.
Yes,
Thank you, Grover. That was so awesome to hear. And Brian made me think of what Joe said. I want to be in the same room, and if we were, we'll be all in hands going doing a round dance together. So someday, and sometime soon. Speaking of Joe, we're gonna take it to you to give us our closing prayer.
I think it's actually in the Mar.
Oh, Namar! Oh my God! Sorry, Namar. I think I was still on a like
Last week's agenda or
last
something.
week or something.
But Joe is our speaker next week, so whoo!
Yeah.
That would be exciting.
Get
So
those
let's
rails in place, Joe. All right,
take it away, Namar.
Goodness, Preston, have I been silent that long that I just been forgot about?
I'm sorry. I've been only silent for 2 weeks.
Nah, because I've been told that I hadn't been as vocal as I've been lately. So just made me wonder, have I been forgotten? Nah, I'm just kidding. But a very pleasant good evening to you all, my brethren. And thank you very much, Miss Ma'am, for the wonderful teaching. Let me just say that I believe that one of the great tragedies throughout world history, especially when we consider the history of Turtle Island, is that the indigenous lady has been masked. The mask has been put on by the mainstream Eurocentric culture. And when that has happened for generations, the indigenous woman has not been able to reveal who the indigenous woman really is. So yes, I can agree with Joe that yes, it is time. I can agree with, and I can honor with the honorable lady who has taught us tonight that it is time. It is time for the mask to be pulled off, and it is time for the mask to stay off. Are you with me? All right, so with that being said, let us close in prayer and get ready for the send-off. Father God, Creator sets free in the name of your Son, Jesus, Creator sets free. Thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for this day that you have made. We rejoice and we are glad. Thank you for the wisdom that you have given us tonight through your servant. Thank you for the opportunity to learn and to gain wisdom so that we may carry it as we fight the good fight and as we walk the good road. May you go before us to lead us. May you go behind us to push and encourage us. May you stay above us to cover us. May you stay beneath us to lift us. And may you stay in us to fill us with your great spirit so that our lives will give glory and honor to you alone, so that the world will know that Creator sets free, lives, and shall set us free. In Creator sets free name, in Jesus' name, I hope.
Oh.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming, and thank you all for that great time of worship and being together. See you, Grover.
See you next week.
See y'all next week.
See you again.
See you next
Joe
week.
Lopez.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you. Good night.
That was really nice. That was beautiful.
What was that?
That's really nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I missed you, Grovers.